Could we just stop for a moment? I really just need a hug.
A hug is nice, but I thought you might prefer this entire row of boutiques instead.
The crystal ballroom glittered with 1,000 lights as Lily Harper smoothed down her simple navy dress. She had saved for 3 months to afford the ticket to the annual arts education fundraiser. And now she stood at the edge of the crowd, feeling completely out of place. Around her swirled women in designer gowns and men in tailored tuxedos, their laughter floating above the soft classical music. Lily reminded herself why she came. This gala raised money for art programs in struggling schools, programs like the one where she taught. She believed in the cause deeply, even if attending meant draining her modest savings account. Her students deserved every opportunity, every paintbrush, every canvas. She made her way toward the silent auction tables, her worn heels clicking softly against the marble floor. Beautiful paintings lined the walls, each one representing hope for children who might never otherwise hold a brush. Lily was studying a vibrant, abstract piece when a voice made her blood run cold. The unwanted reunion well. Look who decided to show up. Lily turned slowly to find Trevor Morgan standing behind her, his arm wrapped possessively around a stunning woman with platinum blonde hair. Trevor looked exactly as she remembered from their breakup 8 months ago, handsome, polished, and cruel beneath the surface. The woman beside him, Sienna, examined Lily with the detached interest of someone appraising a garage sale item. Still teaching finger painting to kids, Trevor said, his tone dripping with false sympathy. I keep hearing about your little school. The building is practically falling apart, right? How noble of you to waste your talent there. Lily felt heat creep up her neck. Several people nearby had turned to watch. Drinks paused halfway to their lips. She tried to keep her voice steady and professional. The school serves an important purpose, Trevor. Not everything is about money, Sienna laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the music. Oh, honey, everything is about money. Trevor told me all about you. The girl who thought passion mattered more than success. How many followers do you have on social media? 100? 3,000, actually, Sienna continued, checking her phone with exaggerated casualty. I gained that many just this morning. Meanwhile, you're still driving that ancient car and living in that studio apartment above the dry cleaner, aren't you? Trevor smirked, clearly enjoying the performance. I tried to help you see the bigger picture. Lily, I offered to introduce you to gallery owners, 2 people who could have advanced your career. But you wanted to stay small, stay comfortable in your world of glitter, glue, and construction paper. Some of us actually have ambition. Stranger in the shadows, the words landed like punches. Lily felt tears burning behind her eyes, but she refused to cry in front of them. She refused to give Trevor the satisfaction of seeing her break. Her hands trembled as she clutched her small purse, looking desperately for an exit that would not make her look like she was running away. That was when she saw him. He stood near the French doors leading to the terrace, a glass of champagne forgotten in his hand. Tall and commanding, in a perfectly fitted black tuxedo, he had dark hair touched with just a hint of silver at the temples. Even from across the room, Lily could feel the quiet power he radiated. Unlike the other wealthy attendees who laughed loudly and postured for attention, this man seemed content in his solitude, watching the crowd with thoughtful eyes. A wild, desperate idea formed in her mind. Before she could talk herself out of it, Lily walked straight toward him. Her heart hammered so loudly she was certain everyone could hear it. The crowd seemed to part naturally as she moved, or perhaps that was just her imagination. As she got closer, he looked up. His eyes were a striking shade of deep blue, intelligent and perceptive. They swept across her face, and Lily saw the exact moment he registered her distress. Please, she whispered when she reached him, her voice barely audible over the music. I know this is completely crazy, but I need you to pretend you know me. Just for a minute, please.
Hey.
The moment everything changed for 3 heartbeats, he simply looked at her. Lily watched his expression, waiting for the rejection, the confusion, the dismissal she deserved for such a bizarre request. Instead, something shifted in his eyes. Understanding, perhaps? Or recognition of a kindred spirit in need. Without saying a word, he set down his champagne glass on a nearby table. Then he stepped forward and pulled her into his arms. The embrace was not tentative or awkward. It was firm, protective, and surprisingly gentle. One of his hands settled on her back, steady and reassuring, while the other came up briefly to rest against her hair. He was warm and solid, and he smelled like sandalwood and something crisp, like rain on cedar. "Breathe," he murmured quietly, his voice a low rumble that only she could hear. "You are safe now." Ow. Lily's eyes closed. The ballroom disappeared. Trevor's mocking voice, Sienna's cruel laughter, the curious stares of the crowd, all of it faded into nothing. There was only this stranger's steady heartbeat beneath her ear and the unexpected sanctuary she had found in his arms. Then he lifted his head, his voice carrying across the ballroom with calm authority. "There you are, darling. Sorry I got caught up in that conversation." The aftermath, Lee felt the atmosphere shift immediately. She pulled back just enough to see Trevor and Sienna staring at them, mouths open in identical expressions of shock. Around them, other guests had paused their conversations to watch. A woman in a red dress had her phone out, clearly recording. The stranger kept his arm around Lily's waist, the gesture natural and protective. He looked at Trevor with polite indifference, the way someone might regard a stranger asking for the time. "Friend of yours?" he asked Lily quietly. "Former friend," Lily managed to say, her voice stronger now with his support. The stranger's expression did not change, but something in his eyes went cold as winter ice. "We should get some air." "The terrace, remember?" Trevor finally found his voice. "Wait, who are you?" "Lily, what is going on here?" But the stranger was already guiding Lily away, his hand on her lower back, leading her through the crowd toward the French doors. Lily walked with her head high, acutely aware of every eye on them, every whisper that followed in their wake. They did not stop until they reached the terrace overlooking the city lights. Only then did he release her, stepping back to give her space. Lily immediately felt the cold night air rush in, and she hugged her arms around herself. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I cannot even begin to explain what just happened in there. I should not have involved you in my mess." He studied her for a moment, his expression unreadable in the soft glow of the terrace lights. "You looked like you needed help," he said simply. "I do not walk away from that. But you do not even know me. You had no reason to do what you just did." "No," he agreed. "But I know what it looks like when someone is drowning." He tilted his head slightly. "Are you okay?" The gentle question, asked with such genuine concern, nearly broke through Lily's carefully maintained composure. She nodded quickly, not trusting her voice. "Do not be embarrassed," he continued. "The only people who should feel ashamed are the ones who tried to make you feel small. No one has the right to speak to you that way." Lily looked up at him properly for the first time. In the moonlight, she could see the strong line of his jaw, intelligence in those deep blue eyes, the way he carried himself with effortless confidence. He was handsome, but not in a soft way. Handsome like a storm was handsome, powerful, and compelling. "I am Lily," she said. "Lily Harper." "Nathan," he replied. "Nathan Sterling." The name echoed in Lily's mind, tugging at something she could not quite place. Nathan Sterling. Why did that sound familiar? Before she could ask, her phone began buzzing in her purse. Once, twice, then continuously like an angry bee trapped in fabric. She pulled it out with trembling fingers and stared at the screen in confusion. Text messages flooded in from numbers she did not recognize. Notifications from social media apps she barely used lit up her screen in rapid succession. Her friend, Rachel, had sent 7 messages in the span of 2 minutes, each one more frantic than the last. Lily opened the first message and felt the world tilt sideways. "Lily, is that you? Is that Nathan Sterling? Oh my God, call me right now." Attached was a video. Lily's thumb hovered over it for a moment before she pressed play. She watched herself walk across the ballroom toward Nathan, watched him set down his champagne glass, watched him pull her into that embrace, his hands settling protectively on her back, watched him say, "There you are, darling." The video had been posted 12 minutes ago. It already had 800,000 views. The caption read, Mystery woman embraced by reclusive billionaire Nathan Sterling at charity gala. Who is she? Lily's hands began to shake so badly she nearly dropped her phone. Oh no. This cannot be happening. This is not real. Nathan stepped closer, glancing at her phone screen. His expression remained calm, but she saw something flicker in his eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or maybe resignation. That video is everywhere, Lily whispered, scrolling through the comments with growing horror. People are sharing it across every platform. They are asking who I am. They are making up stories about us. She looked up at Nathan, panic rising in her chest. This is terrible. This is going to ruin everything. I work with children, and the school board is very particular about public image. When they see this, when they realize I lied about having a relationship with someone, they are going to think I am dishonest. And Trevor will know it was fake, and he will tell everyone, and I will look like a desperate liar who threw herself at a stranger. The truth revealed Lily. Nathan's calm voice cut through her spiral of panic. Look at me, she did. Those steady blue eyes held hers with quiet strength. This is not your fault, he said firmly, and it is going to be manageable. But there is something you should know about me. What do you mean? Nathan pulled out his own phone, typed something quickly, and turned the screen toward her. It displayed a news article from 4 months earlier. The headline read, Nathan Sterling, tech visionary and philanthropist, donates $500 million to education initiatives nationwide. Lily's eyes widened as she scanned the article. Photos showed Nathan at various events, always in the background, always avoiding the camera. The text described him as the founder of Sterling Technologies, a company that had revolutionized cybersecurity and cloud computing. It mentioned his reputation for privacy, his refusal to do interviews, his habit of making massive charitable donations without seeking recognition. You are Nathan Sterling, Lily breathed. The Nathan Sterling, one who owns Sterling Technologies. The one who just donated $500 million to schools. Yes. Oh my God. Lily pressed her free hand to her forehead. I asked a billionaire to pretend to be my boyfriend. I dragged one of the most private, most famous tech moguls in the country into my petty drama with my ex. This is so much worse than I thought. It is not worse, Nathan said quietly, but it is complicated. He gestured to a wrought iron bench near the terrace railing, and they both sat down. The city stretched out below them, a galaxy of lights against the dark sky. Music and laughter drifted from the ballroom behind them, but out here, they existed in a pocket of relative quiet. By tomorrow morning, Nathan continued, every news outlet is going to run this story. They're going to identify me, which they have probably already done. Then they are going to come looking for you. Reporters will show up at your school, at your apartment. They will dig into your background, interview your friends, contact your family. This is what happens when you are connected to someone like me, even accidentally. Lily felt sick. What do I do? How do I make this stop? Nathan was quiet for a long moment, his gaze distant as he looked out over the city. When he finally spoke, his voice was thoughtful. Let me help you. I have a team of people who handle situations like this. Public relations experts, lawyers who specialize in privacy protection. I can make sure your personal information stays private. Make sure your job is secure. Manage the media narrative so it does not spiral out of control. Why would you do that? Lily asked, searching his face. You do not owe me anything. If anything, I owe you an apology for putting you in this position. Nathan turned to look at her directly. In the soft light, his features seemed both sharp and gentle at the same time. No, he said. You do not owe me an apology. You asked for help when you needed it. That took courage, not foolishness. He paused. I am offering to help because I can, and because leaving you to deal with this alone would be wrong. But I need you to trust me. A proposition. Lily's phone buzzed again. This time it was a call from her principal, Margaret Foster. Calling at 9:30 on a Friday night? Lily's stomach dropped as she answered. Lily. Margaret's voice was tight with tension. I have been seeing some concerning content online tonight. There's a video of you at the charity gala with a man, and people are asking questions. Several parents have already contacted me. I need you to come in first thing Monday morning so we can discuss this. Okay, the school board is very concerned about the message this sends. Lily barely heard the rest of the conversation. Her vision blurred with tears she had been holding back for too long. When the call ended, she looked at Nathan helplessly. I am going to lose my job. Everything I have worked for, everything I care about it, is all going to fall apart because of one stupid moment of panic. Nathan reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently took the phone from her shaking hands. He set it on the bench between them. You are not going to lose your job, he said with quiet certainty. Not if we handle this correctly. How? How can we possibly fix this? Nathan stood and walked to the terrace railing, his hands in his pockets, as he looked out at the city. Lily watched him, seeing the tension in his shoulders, the way he seemed to be weighing invisible options. There is one way, he said finally, turning back to face her. But it requires both of us to commit to it fully. No hesitation, no half measures. What way? We do not deny the video. We do not call it a misunderstanding or a mistake. He paused. We confirm it. We tell the world that we are together. Lily stood up so quickly she nearly knocked over the bench. What? You serious? That would be lying to everyone. It would be strategic truth management, Nathan corrected. The video shows something real. You needed help. I provided it. The embrace was genuine, even if the context was not what people assume. We simply allow them to continue assuming. For how long? A week? A month? Forever? Long enough for the story to become boring. Long enough for the media to move on to the next scandal. 6 months? Maybe? After that, we stage a quiet, mutual breakup. No drama, no blame. We simply say, we wanted different things and partied as friends. Lily paced the length of the terrace, her mind racing. This is insane. This is actually insane. We do not even know each other. What happens when people realize we have nothing in common, when we cannot answer basic questions about our supposed relationship? Then we get to know each other, Nathan said simply. We spend time together. Learn about each other. Build a foundation that can withstand scrutiny. It does not have to be romantic, Lily. It just has to be believable. The decision Lily stopped pacing and turned to face him. Why would you do this? Shh. You could just release a statement saying I am a stranger who approached you. Shh. Yourself completely, and let me deal with the fallout alone. Why are you offering to tie yourself to this mess for 6 months? Nathan was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than before. Because I have spent the last 5 years building walls around myself. Privacy, security, control. I have everything money can buy, but I have forgotten what it feels like to do something spontaneous, something real. When you walked up to me tonight, you were terrified and desperate, but you still had the courage to ask for help. That is more authentic than anything I have experienced in years. He stepped closer to her, his expression earnest. And because when I pulled you into my arms, I felt something I had not felt in a very long time. I felt needed, not for my money or my connections or my influence. It's just for being present, for being willing to help. That meant something to me. Lily felt tears sliding down her cheeks now. She wiped them away impatiently. You do not even know me. What if I am terrible? What if I embarrass you or say the wrong thing in public or cannot handle the pressure? Then we figure it out together, Nathan said. But I do not think you will. You teach art to children in a struggling school? You spent 3 months of savings to attend a charity gala for a cause you believe in. You stood up to your ex-boyfriend, even when it hurt. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Lily's phone buzzed again on the bench. More notifications, more messages, more people demanding answers. She looked at the device, then at Nathan, then out at the city that suddenly felt full of watching eyes. If we do this, she said slowly, there have to be rules, boundaries. This is a business arrangement, nothing more. We protect each other's privacy. We present a united front in public, but we maintain our separate lives otherwise. Nathan nodded. Agreed. We draw up a contract, something clear and legal. Protection for both of us. And when it ends, we really do part as friends. No resentment. No blame. Yes, Lily took a deep breath. She thought about Trevor's cruel words, about Sienna's mocking laughter, about the way Nathan's embrace had made her feel safe and valued for the first time in months. She thought about her students, about her job, about the quiet life she had built that was now balanced on a knife's edge. And then she walked over to Nathan and held out her hand. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's do this. Let's give them a story worth believing." Nathan's fingers closed around hers, warm and steady and sure. In that moment, Lily had no idea that the video had just surpassed 3 million views. She did not know that by morning her name would be trending on every social media platform. She did not know that choosing to trust this stranger would change absolutely everything about her carefully ordered world. But as they stood together on that terrace, hands clasped under the stars, something shifted between them. Something neither of them expected and neither could name. Something that felt dangerously close to real. Lily woke to the sound of her phone ringing at 6 in the morning. She reached for it groggily, her mind still foggy with sleep, and then remembered. The gala, Trevor, and Sienna. Nathan Sterling. The video she bolted upright in bed, her heart racing. Sunlight streamed through the thin curtains of her studio apartment, illuminating the modest space she called home. Her phone screen showed 17 missed calls and over 100 text messages. With trembling fingers, she unlocked it and immediately wished she had not. The video had exploded overnight. 7 million views and counting. Entertainment news websites had picked up the story. Celebrity gossip blogs were speculating wildly. Someone had identified her, found her social media profiles, discovered where she worked. Her modest following of 300 people had ballooned to 15,000 overnight, most of them strangers demanding information. The headlines made her stomach churn. Mystery woman identified. Meet Lily Harper, the art teacher who captured a billionaire's heart. Nathan Sterling breaks 5-year silence on romance with embrace at charity gala. From classroom to ballroom, inside the unexpected love story. Taking the internet by storm, Lily dropped the phone on her bed and pressed her hands to her face. This could not be real. This could not be happening. Any moment, she would wake up and discover this was all an elaborate nightmare. A sharp knock on her apartment door made her jump. She wrapped her robe tighter around herself and crept to the peephole. A man in a dark suit stood in the hallway, holding a leather folder. He looked professional, calm, completely out of place in her building. "Miss Harper," he called through the door. "My name is James. I work for Nathan Sterling. He sent me to help you this morning." The team arrives. Lee opened the door cautiously, keeping the chain lock engaged. "How did you find my address?" "Mr. Sterling has excellent resources," James said with a slight smile. "May I come in?" "I have several people with me who need to speak with you about managing the current situation." Lily glanced past him to see 3 more people in the hallway, 2 women and another man, all dressed professionally, all carrying briefcases and tablets. She took a deep breath and opened the door. Within minutes, her tiny apartment was filled with Nathan's team. The first woman introduced herself as Caroline, a public relations specialist with 20 years of experience in crisis management. The second woman was Victoria, a lawyer who specialized in privacy law and media relations. The man who had arrived with James was Marcus, a security consultant. "First things first," Caroline said, setting up a laptop on Lily's small kitchen table. "We need to control the narrative before it controls you. The story is already out there, but we can shape how it develops. Nathan briefed us last night about your arrangement. We are here to make sure it works." Victoria pulled out a thick document. "This is the contract Nathan mentioned. It outlines the terms of your public relationship, the duration, the financial protections for both parties, and the exit strategy. I need you to review it carefully before signing anything." Lily sat down heavily on her worn couch, feeling overwhelmed. This is really happening. We are actually going to pretend to be in a relationship for 6 months. Not pretend, Caroline corrected gently. You are going to be in a relationship. It just has different parameters than a conventional one. The key is authenticity. People can smell fake from a mile away. You and Nathan need to genuinely care about each other, even if that caring is based on friendship and mutual respect rather than romance. Marcus stepped forward. I need to discuss security. As of this morning, you are connected to one of the wealthiest men in the country. That makes you a target. We have already identified 3 paparazzi camped outside this building and 2 reporters who tried to bribe your neighbors for information. Lily felt the blood drain from her face. Paparazzi. Outside my building? Which is why you cannot stay here, Marcus continued. At least not for the next few days. Nathan has arranged for you to stay at one of his properties until things settle down. Somewhere secure, private, where you can breathe without cameras in your face. Moving forward, the next 3 hours passed in a blur. Lily reviewed the contract with Victoria, asking questions about clauses she did not understand, making sure she knew exactly what she was agreeing to. The document was surprisingly fair. Nathan was not asking her to give up her job or her independence. He was offering financial protection in case the publicity damaged her career, legal support if anyone invaded her privacy, and a generous stipend to cover any expenses related to maintaining their public image in return. She agreed to attend certain events with him, to present a united front in public, to keep the details of their arrangement confidential. The contract would last 6 months unless both parties agreed to extend or terminate it early. At the end, they would stage a respectful breakup and go their separate ways. Lily signed her name at the bottom. Feeling like she was stepping off a cliff into unknown darkness, Caroline helped her pack a bag with enough clothes for a week. Marcus made arrangements for secure transportation. Victoria called Lily's principal and somehow convinced her to delay their Monday meeting until everything could be properly explained. Lily did not ask how she managed it. She was learning that Nathan's resources were apparently limitless. By noon, Lily found herself in the back of a sleek black car with tinted windows. Driving through parts of the city she had only seen from a distance, they passed through an exclusive neighborhood where houses sat behind tall gates and manicured hedges. Where the streets were quiet and tree-lined, the car pulled up to a modern townhouse made of glass and steel. Elegant and understated, Marcus opened her door and gestured to the entrance. Mr. Sterling is waiting inside. Behind closed doors, Lily walked through the front door into a space that took her breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a private garden. The interior was decorated in soft grays and warm woods, minimalist but comfortable. Art hung on the walls. Real art. Pieces that belonged in museums. Nathan emerged from what looked like a kitchen, wearing jeans and a simple gray sweater. Seeing him in casual clothes was jarring after the tuxedo from last night. He looked younger, more approachable, though his eyes still held that same intensity. "You came," he said, relief evident in his voice. "Your team did not really give me much choice," Lily replied, setting down her bag. "Though I appreciate the help. This morning was overwhelming. I know. I am sorry. This is what my life looks like, and now it is what yours looks like too, at least temporarily." He gestured to a comfortable-looking couch. "Sit, please. We need to talk." Lily sat, and Nathan took a seat across from her in an armchair. For a moment, they just looked at each other. In the daylight, without the drama of the gala swirling around them, Lily could really see him. The fine lines around his eyes that suggested he smiled more than his serious demeanor implied. The way his hands moved when he talked, expressive and careful. The sadness that lingered in his expression when he thought she was not looking. "Tell me about yourself," Nathan said quietly. "If we are going to make this work, I need to know who you really are. Not the version the internet is creating, but the real Lily Harper." So Lily talked. She told him about growing up in a small town 3 hours north, about her parents who ran a flower shop and supported her dreams, even when they did not understand them. She told him about studying art in college, about the moment she realized she wanted to teach rather than pursue gallery shows and commercial success. She told him about her students, about the girl who had never held a paintbrush before a class and was now creating stunning portraits, about the boy who used art to process his parents' divorce. She told him about Trevor, about the relationship that had slowly drained her confidence, about the breakup that had left her questioning her choices. She told him about the small joys that filled her life, Saturday morning markets, coffee at her favorite corner shop. Evenings spent painting in her apartment while music played. Nathan listened without interrupting.
Oh.
His attention completely focused on her. When she finally stopped talking, he was quiet for a moment. "Your turn," Lily said. "Tell me about Nathan Sterling, unmasking the billionaire." Nathan leaned back in his chair, his gaze distant. "I've built Sterling Technologies from nothing. I was 23, fresh out of graduate school, convinced I could revolutionize cybersecurity. I was right, but I did not anticipate what success would cost." He stood and walked to the windows, looking out at the garden. "I lost my privacy first, then my friendships, because I could never be sure if people wanted me or my money. Then my relationship. My fiancée left me 4 years ago because she said I had become a stranger. Someone who valued control over connection." Lee heard the pain in his voice. "Carefully controlled, but still present. I threw myself into work after that. Built the company bigger, made more money, donated to causes I believed in. But I did it all from behind walls. I stopped going to events unless absolutely necessary. I stopped dating. I stopped letting people in." He turned back to face her. "And then you walked up to me last night, terrified and desperate and real, and something shifted." "What shifted?" Lily asked softly. "I remembered what it felt like to be human. To help someone without calculation or strategy. To act on instinct instead of carefully managed plans." He smiled, but it was tinged with sadness. "I have spent 5 years being Nathan Sterling, the billionaire, the brand, the carefully controlled public image. I forgot how to be just Nathan." Lily stood and walked over to him. "So what happens now? We spend 6 months pretending to be a couple, and then you go back to being Nathan Sterling, the brand." "Maybe," Nathan said. "Or maybe this arrangement gives us both something we need. You get protection from the media storm and security for your job. I get a chance to remember what genuine connection feels like, even if it is temporary and contractual." "That sounds lonely," Lily said. "For both of us." Nathan looked at her, really looked at her, and something passed between them. Recognition, perhaps. An understanding that they were both searching for something neither could name. "It does not have to be lonely," he said quietly. "We can be friends. Real friends. The contract says we have to be convincing in public, but it does not say we cannot actually care about each other in private." Before Lily could respond, Nathan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression darkened. "What is wrong?" Lily asked. "Trevor Morgan just gave an interview to a celebrity news website. He is claiming you are using me for money and social status. He is saying your relationship with me is obviously fake, that you are manipulative and calculating." Fighting back, Gar flared hot and bright in Lily's chest. "Of course he is. He cannot stand seeing me happy or connected to someone successful. He needs to tear me down." Nathan was already texting someone, his fingers moving rapidly across the screen. "He is trying to control the narrative, turn public opinion against you. Before we can establish our own story, what do we do?" Nathan looked up, and there was steel in his eyes. "We go public. Not with a statement or a press release. We do it in person, together, with complete honesty. Honesty. But we cannot tell people the truth about our arrangement." "No," Nathan agreed, "but we can tell them our truth. That we met, that there was a connection, that we are choosing to explore where it might lead. All of that is factually accurate. Even if the context is different than people assume." He made a phone call, spoke briefly to someone, then turned back to Lily. "There is a press conference scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Every major outlet will be there. We are going to stand together and tell our story. Are you ready for that?" Lily thought about Trevor's smug face, about Sienna's cruel laughter, about the way she had felt so small and worthless at the gala. Then she thought about Nathan's steady presence, about the way he had protected her without hesitation, about the possibility of 6 months where she did not have to face the world alone. "Yes," she said, "I am ready." Nathan stepped closer to her, close enough that she could see the flecks of silver in his blue eyes. "There is something else we need to discuss." Tomorrow, in front of those cameras, we need to look like a real couple. That means being comfortable with physical affection. Holding hands, standing close, maybe even a kiss, if the moment calls for it. Lily's heart skipped. A kiss. Only if you are comfortable with it, Nathan said quickly. We establish boundaries now, before we are in front of the cameras. Tell me what you are okay with and what you are not. Lily thought carefully. Holding hands is fine. Standing close is fine. A kiss on the cheek or forehead is okay. Anything more than that needs to be discussed first. Agreed. Nathan held out his hand. Partners. Lily placed her hand in his, feeling the now familiar warmth of his touch. Partners. As they stood there in the sunlight, streaming through those massive windows, hands clasped and eyes locked, neither of them noticed that something fundamental had shifted. The contract said 6 months. The logic said this was temporary, strategic, controlled. But the way Nathan's thumb brushed gently across her knuckles, the way Lily leaned almost imperceptibly closer, the way they both smiled at the same moment, those things whispered a different truth. This arrangement might have started as a desperate solution to an impossible problem, but it was becoming something neither of them had planned for, something that felt dangerously, beautifully real.